You go rotate off?
No.
Okay, good. So we'll keep the same ones? Nobody's going off, is it?
Not that I know of.
I'll ask Don's next December.
Is it a 3-year term?
No, you're not.
You ready to go?
We'll be on this thing without you.
You'll be on all next year.
Okay, we'll get started.
We'll be on it without you, though.
The November 7th, 2016 meeting of the City of Danville Planning Commission is now called to order. We welcome everyone to the meeting today. The Planning Commission is an advisory board to the Danville City Council and is comprised of members who serve on a voluntary basis. Today we have 2 items to consider for which there will be a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the case may do so at that time. After the public hearing, commissioner members may have questions for staff and those who have spoken for or against a requested change. Planning Commission will review the case relative to the city code and make a recommendation to forward to City Council, and Council will consider these items, I believe, at their December 6th meeting. Could we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Scares,
Here.
Mr. Dotson,
Present.
Mr. Garrison,
Here.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Ms. Evans, here, Mr. Bolton.
Here.
Okay, the first item is rezoning application PLRZ 2016-00000271, filed by Fred Shanks on behalf of Dahmer LLC, requesting to rezone from SR Suburban Residential District to HRC Highway Retail Commercial 156 Spring Avenue. The applicant is proposing to rezone the parcel so they could be consolidated with 4750 Riverside Drive. If we could have our staff report, please.
156 Spring Avenue is .627 acres and is zoned suburban residential. The applicant is requesting to rezone the parcel to highway retail commercial so that it may be consolidated with 4750 Riverside Drive, which is currently the site of Piedmont Custom Conversions. The subject property is bordered to the north by property zoned suburban residential and is bordered on all other sides by parcels zoned highway retail commercial. The subject property has been the site of a single-family dwelling. However, the applicant has indicated that the residential structure at 156 Spring Avenue is to be demolished. The applicant has submitted a consolidation plat for the proposal showing the lots to be a total of 1.326 acres once consolidated. The ingress and egress from the subject parcel is from Spring Avenue, and the primary ingress and egress to Piedmont Custom Conversions is from Riverside Drive. The applicant has expressed interest in closing the alley to the east of 4750 Riverside Drive. 6 notices were sent to surrounding property owners within 300 feet of the subject property, and a full report is in front of you. Staff recommends approval of rezoning application PLRZ 2016-00000271, filed by Fred Shanks on behalf of Dharma LLC, requesting to rezone from suburban residential to highway retail commercial 156 Spring Avenue, otherwise known as Grid 0710, Block 009, Parcel 000002 of the City of Danville, Virginia zoning district map. The rezoning will allow for consolidation with property at 4750 Riverside Drive, as the zoning code does not permit consolidation unless both properties share the same zoning classification.
Come forward, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Fred Shanks, and I'm here with Danny Knight with Quality Construction. We have nothing we need to add to the report that you got from staff, but be glad to answer any questions and would appreciate a favorable recommendation. Are there any questions?
Any questions for the applicant?
Just out of curiosity, what's the long-term plan?
After consolidation, there is no specific business in mind, but develop it consistent with highway retail commercial development.
And the house on it?
The house has been torn down.
Okay. Do they own that property?
Yes, they own the custom conversion property plus the lot that we're talking about
Okay,
today.
all right.
Did you have a question?
That was my question.
Any others? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, close the public hearing and look for a motion if we have no more questions.
I have a question of staff.
Okay.
So,
houses behind that piece of property where that house has been demolished, they are suburban residential, and they will remain as such, and no concerns have been expressed.
Any other questions or anything? Okay. We have a motion?
You want to do it? Go ahead.
Let's-
Go ahead. Recommend approval of rezoning application PLRZ 2016-000271 as submitted.
Second by Mr. Garrison. And roll call, please.
Mr. Bolton?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Scares?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Okay, next item is a special use permit application, PLSUP 2016-00000272, filed by NPNS Incorporated, requesting a special use permit for ancillary vehicle service repair and short-term vehicle storage in accordance with Article 3M, Section C, Item 18 of the Code of the City of Danville, as amended, at 1525 South Boston Road and a portion of parcel ID number 76418. The applicant is proposing to operate a towing business with ancillary vehicle repairs and temporary vehicle storage. We could have a staff report.
The applicant, NPNS Inc., is requesting a special use permit for ancillary vehicle service repair and short-term vehicle storage at 1525 South Boston Road and a portion of parcel ID number 76418. The applicant is proposing to operate a towing business with ancillary vehicle repairs and temporary vehicle storage. Nick's Towing and Recovery is currently located at 146 Carolyn Court, but is seeking to move their business to 1525 South Boston. On-site business operation would include the towing and storing of wrecked and otherwise inoperable vehicles for a temporary period of time. Normal business would also include routine maintenance and repair for diesel automobiles. The subject parcel is zoned highway retail commercial and sits upon a 3.87 acre lot, which is the site of a church and a vacant warehouse building. Ingress and egress is from South Boston Road along a private access driveway. 4 notices were sent to surrounding property owners within 300 feet of a subject property, and the complete report is in front of you. Staff recommends approval of a special use permit application PLSUP 2016-00000272 for ancillary vehicle service repair and short-term vehicle storage in accordance with Article 3M, Section C, Item 18 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, with the following conditions. 1, use of property as a permanent automobile graveyard or junkyard shall be prohibited. The storage of wrecked and stolen vehicles shall be for a maximum of 30 days. After that time, they shall be removed to another location. 2, any ancillary vehicle service repair and vehicle storage on parcel ID number 76418 shall be contained to the portion of the property that is adjacent to the eastern property line of 1525 South Boston Road. 3, a solid 6-foot high wooden fence shall be constructed so that all vehicle storage and vehicle repair is not visible from South Boston Road. And 4, Leland cypress or another fast-growing type of evergreen shall be planted on the South Boston Road side of the fence. These shall be a minimum of 3 feet tall at planting. Should at any time the landscaping die or vehicles be visible from South Boston Road, additional landscaping shall be installed to prevent the same.
Okay, thank you. Open the public hearing. For those who wish to speak on this item, can come forward.
My name is Nick Sapanakis. I'm the applicant on this project. Here to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay. Do we have any questions from commissioners?
I do. When there's a lot of attention in the report toward vehicle storage and placement and things like that, are you agreeable to the conditions that have been laid out here?
I'd like to ask Ken a question, if that's okay with you, sir.
Oh, sure.
They mentioned
Wooden fence, yeah, I'm sorry. We took these conditions from your previous facility and transferred them over. He had proposed doing a chain link fence with slats inside the fence. Staff's not opposed to that. The trees that we're proposing to plant on the outside will do an adequate job after the slats are in place. His existing facility on Carolyn Court abutted Central Boulevard, and we did those conditions. We had proposed a wooden fence. The trees actually took care of that. We didn't need the wooden fence at the time. So I'm not opposed to going with a chain link fence with slats in them.
Yeah, that'll certainly last longer too, not
Yeah,
deteriorate.
that was, and again, I'm sorry, when we took the old conditions and I forgot about that part.
Mr. Wilson, I'd be glad to answer your question, sir.
Okay, well, so the likelihood of a chain link fence with slats is more likely than what we have here, wooden.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay.
You want a chain link
But,
fence?
and you're okay with the cypress trees growing there,
Yes, sir.
being placed?
I understand, yes, sir.
Okay, and then, what part of that, it's a fairly large property, what part of that property do you see placing the vehicles? Is it right up close to the road, or?
Looking
deeper in?
looking at the position of the building, it would be to the right. And the fence would enclose the whole storage facility.
Is that storage facility closer to the building that's sitting there now, or up closer to South Boston Road?
It would be to the east of the property, eastern side of the property.
If you'll notice your drawing, there's a small squared in area that he was
Right.
proposing to limit the cars. If you look at the drawing up on the screen, you'll see the small, you've got the building itself and then a small darkened area, and the darkened area was the additional area of the Woodall property that he was looking at using.
Okay, so in that little squared area to the right of the building is what you're talking about?
Yeah, the squared area to the right of the building and then the additional rectangular place property to the east. It goes on to two properties, one, and that's why there's the separate parcel.
Right.
So it will expand, cover the entire area to the east of the building, and then that little sliver that is on the highlighted portion.
Okay, so really not a lot of activity up close to the road.
No, not up close to 58 or anything else.
On approval of this, the expansion up to the road would be allowed though, or do they have to come back for that?
We feel he would have to come back because it's adjacent to the eastern property line, and we have the map actually designating the area. If we want to limit it to, 300 feet, how much of the Woodall property are you proposing to use?
It's like 40 feet that's already has grass on it. It's on
Okay.
top of rock.
Then if
The
you-
length.
If we want to put a limit of 100 feet of the Woodall property, that'll give you a little bit of extra wiggle room to make sure that the 40 feet.
Yes, sir.
Then staff's not opposed to you putting a limitation on an additional 100 by, we can measure the distance of it and list that out.
Well,
That would prohibit it from coming out to 58 if that's the concern.
well, with this particular business, that's not a big concern for mine. I just wanted to kind of place all of this activity on the map. What part, because it's a rather large area there, so. So it looks like it's more to the back of the property than up
It is.
close to the street.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't have any more questions.
Any other questions?
I had a question. I found says you can't store vehicles longer than 30 days. Currently where you are, do you move vehicles after 30 days?
Oh, yes. I store vehicles, inoperable vehicles for the city for public works. I store vehicles, stolen vehicles for the police department. I've got all the towing contracts for the city vehicles. But most times they either go down to the city garage or they go to a repair facility out of town, or if they wrecked or wherever they go, we take them wherever they go. But the inoperable vehicles are gone within 30 days.
Any other questions? Mr. Garrison?
This is essentially the same business plan that you have now that's right in the middle of the city. Am I correct?
That's correct. The property I'm located at now was sold out from under me.
Okay. But that's right in the middle of the city with two major streets
Yes,
to either
sir.
side of you,
And-
and this is
And Mr.
certainly.
Gilly was real, last time I come before the planning commission was 1994, and, on that piece of property that I'm on now. And, it just, he was real stringent in what he required. The woman that was here before you come was, Ms. Parks, and the only difference in this parcel and the other parcel, this parcel, the first parcel, she wanted red tips. Well, I planted red tips the length of the property, and every one of them died. That black spot disease, so we had to jerk them up and put Leland cypress in that place, and they grew pretty quick.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There's nobody else here, just,
You'll notice we put in there about a Leland cypress or additional shrub. We just notified that Leland cypress may be having an issue in this area. We were told about a different plant called an arborvitae, I believe is what it is. So we have the wording in there for or another type, just to let you know that that may not be true Leland cypress that go inside there because of the blight that's apparently been occurring. So we will work with them on finding a plant that we feel will survive. The red tips died rather quickly last time. We don't want that to happen again.
It doesn't sound like it needs to be done, but if you did need to monitor it for the 30 days, who does that? I mean, how would you even know if the vehicles were there 30 days or longer?
We have once or twice in the past monitored it if we received a complaint about it. And at the time we found that the vehicles were turning over. The police department does it, one through their towing thing. Public Works also does it because they put mechanics liens and some other things on the property. So there's a couple different ways to monitor it. I myself, years and years ago, got a complaint and went out, and Nick and I walked all the site and checked all the vehicles out. I haven't had a complaint in, it's been 20 years now. I probably had 2 complaints in 20 years on his operation, and those were when it first started. So I'm not concerned.
Sure.
One more thing, I do have to get Public Works comes out and approves this lot. Barry Dobit comes out and approves this lot as a storage facility, because we have city vehicles and all that stuff on it also. So he has to okay that and the stipulations and, the requirements.
okay, thank you.
Ken, as I remember from 1994, when the lot he's on now came up, there was a lot of opposition to that particular piece of property in that location. Am I correct?
You are correct.
And there's no opposition to this piece of property, so.
Correct.
You are again correct.
So we have no other questions, we could entertain a motion.
Not yet.
Mr. Bolton?
I'd move recommend approval.
We need to close the public hearing first, I'm sorry.
I thought I did.
None of us have it in our notes.
Okay, public hearing is closed.
Hey,
I looked down, I didn't see anybody, and I thought, well,
okay.
okay. Mr. Bolton?
All right, I'll move to recommend approval of special use permit application PLSUP 2016-00000272, subject to conditions by staff with the change of number 3 from a solid wooden fence to a chain link with slats.
Okay. You have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dotson? Is that correct?
Did
Chain
you want to
link.
include the
Or
distance?
do you want either or? I mean, do you want to give him the option of the wooden or the chain link?
I was just, the chain link is acceptable to us. He'd prefer chain link with slats. We're okay with that, so you can change that. Did you want to say, anything for that distance, the 100 feet, so it doesn't encroach?
Well, that was a concern of mine, and it's not.
Okay.
Made a long history of working in the community, of doing, being in an area where there was concern, and have
Okay.
been a good neighbor. I just don't see it as an issue.
And I would make that a choice. I mean, if he wanted to do wooden or the chain
Okay,
link.
and that's fine. We'll do it with either or.
So Mr. Dawson, do you still have a second?
Second,
Okay. If we could have the roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Scares?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Miss Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Bolton?
Yes.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Okay, next item is approval of the minutes from the October 10th meeting. Any corrections or changes to be noted? If there aren't any, all in favor for the be approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they carry. And other business?
The item that came before you last month that was supposed to go to City Council had been held over by the applicant, so I don't have a report on that. We do have cases for next month, so please plan on attending. I think that's all we had, right? Okay, that's all.
That's all. Okay. All right. Well, thank everybody for being here. Meeting's adjourned.